maybe it's just me, but things like candy, chips, ice cream, cake, yeah, those are rare items. Those are treats. Treats. Um, those aren't everyday items. Those aren't, you know, something that you have to have. Um, like meats kind of deal, vegetables, um, stuff like that. Those are things you should have. Maybe get some pastas in there. Those are things you can have. You can make tons of meals on those things. On some meat, some pasta, some rice, some noodles. And another thing about that is too, you got to do that smart. If you're buying the individual whatevers, you can kill the amount, because it's no secret that's a convenience. So if you're tailoring yourself to the convenience of things, like gas station milk, it's no secret. You're not buying the milk at the gas station because it's the best of the best milk. You're buying it because it's a convenient thing. Also, when you're going to a store, just something that I do, when you're going to a store and you're playing around, if you bring in cash or whatever, you're probably going to spend less. But if you also do something where you take your calculator out or a piece of paper or whatever, and you don't even need a grocery list. All you need to do is add it up as you go. So if you only have, let's go $80. You have $80 to feed you for a week, your family. You're probably not going to spend $5 on chips. Or you probably shouldn't, kind of deal. Because you got a family of, let's say, 2. You're probably not going to spend, you could probably look at your thing, and you're going to, get down to the bottom of the list, and there's still a whole bunch of stuff to still buy, or your cart's only a quarter of the way full because you got it full of unnecessary items, whereas you don't have meat and cheese and some rice or something in there. You don't have those in there. What you do have in there is some individually wrapped or individual work meals or whatever, and all that stuff, and shrink wrap and or even if you want to go, I call it Ziplocs, but not name brand Ziplocs and whatever, or plastic containers. The plastic containers are pretty cheap too, but that way you don't need to individualize things. You can get a ton more and throw it in the thing, then you're good for work or whatever. Or the kids are good for school, throw it in the thing. It's good to be different. If everybody has the individual things, well, there you go. Almost everybody's in credit card debt. That's not cool. I mean, everybody, every cool person there for a while was using Klarna or whatever the hell it's called. But yeah, if you go through the store and as you're doing it, you either write down how much the amount is, and you're putting in a calculator as you go on your phone. You're actually adding it up as you go. You might choose something different. You might choose the off-brand. Because I want to fill this cart, and I got a budget. And that's part of the cash thing. You actually have a budget. You can't just throw more on the card kind of deal. But even if you don't do that, if you know in your back of your mind, write it at the top before you even start getting anything. Write how much I'm going to spend on this, And maybe you do a budget beforehand to figure out how much you can actually spend. But write it down. Write it down. I got $60 to spend, because the car blew a tire or whatever. So I only have $60 to spend on food. And I'm sticking to this budget. So what we're doing is we're cutting back on cookies for a week or two. We have to, Why don't we have any cookies or something, or whatever, Well, stuff's tight right now. Simple as that. And, yeah. And, I mean, this isn't a surprise. People know what they're doing, but, all right. And I get it. You have cravings every now and then. Like, go ahead and submit to those whatevers if you do it. Celebrate the wins. But things like cake or ice cream or cookies, those are celebration items. Those are treats. All right, those are treats. Those aren't needed. And I don't know. That's something that I haven't. I don't even go down those aisles, and I don't even look at it like that deal. It's like gas stations. If I go to a gas station, I'm getting gas, and then I'm pretty much walking out because I know everything else is a convenience item. The gas is whatever. Everything else is a convenience item. It's going to be more than you want. But you're there, and you're admitting to yourself, yeah, it's a convenience item, but it's this and this and this. So you're putting a button there. But simply put that number at the top, or even just put it in the back of your mind. I got $60. This is $4. This ended up being $6. This is up being that. What do I absolutely have to spend money on? Like eggs are, let's say, $5, depending on where you are. Eggs are like $5. Okay, well, I want the eggs, so I'm getting the eggs. I want the cheese, so I'm getting the cheese. Well, now I can't afford the croissants. I can't get croissants now because that's a treat item. I can't get the croissants. That's a treat item. That's a celebration item. So I can't get that kind of deal. And you got to make those things. But don't be buying like, you can't treat yourself all the time. It loses meaning if you do that, okay? If you treat yourself to a cake on your birthday, okay. Or your kid's birthday or whatever, you treat them to a cake, good. But if you're buying a cake every single week, it's not a celebration item anymore. It's not a treat anymore. It's expected. So, whatever. Throwing that out. Little daily thoughts. See you, folks.